is the new lobby for the new police station. House officers, where the public will come in and first meet if they have to report a crime or need assistance in any form. They would start here with an officer, and then officer would come in off the street, depending on the call. Over here is going to be records, where people can come in to get police reports, accident reports, for insurance or process. And then also, when calls come in, we can officers can go to the interview rooms, which are on both sides of the lobby. And they can come in here and have private interviews, depending on what the crime or victims of. So that can be done. We have a lot more interview rooms now in this building than we do in the older station. We have like up to 7 or 8 interview rooms at various levels here on the first floor, in the detective bureau, even in the cell block area, depending on the series of. We never know what kind of interviews we're going to have to handle, or when and where. So it's spread out throughout the station to help us out. We even have a sane room, which is for to handle the delicate victims of domestic violence or sexual assault. So that's about it. All right. This is the houseman's room. So when people come in, like the people are now, they would be here. And then this is the other interview room. It's not fully set up yet. And also sometimes when we have serious victims they flee to the police department, and sometimes the aggressor, or for whatever the victim of the crime is, they're chasing the victim. So we can get the victims out of the way and and into another room, almost like an escape room, to protect them. We've had that only so many times in my career, but the way they build stations now, it has the opportunity now to be 2 doors, so you can get in, get out. So certain times when we have juveniles in custody, we can't put them in the cell block. We have to put them in an area that's not threatening per se, but it also has to be in view of eyesight and hearing of the juvenile. That's why we have the room and the window right there, so they always pay close attention to them. Over here, it's not fully done yet. This is lieutenants will all have their own offices. So we have 5 lieutenants. 2 of them will have their own offices upstairs. They're admin lieutenants, but they're all going to have their individual offices once we get this all set up and running. So they can have their own desk and keep their own files, because they'll be on for each shift. So, how we have, we're very limited in space where we are, so everything's kind of piled up. So now they have time, they have their own organization and their own area to work. This room is the sergeant office. It's just identical as the lieutenant's office. The sergeants will have their own cubicles, so they can store their own paperwork they need for their job on whatever shift they're on. This is the supervisor locker room. The patrolman side, which is where the light won't turn on, is like about 110 lockers in there. It's almost like 2 rooms in length. But they're see which one's open here. Not using having legitimate lockers, but you have everything's locked right now. So once we lock it, it's you got power sources in there. You have ventilation. So and it's a real locker. Compared to what we have, they're like just slabs of, I don't know what the material is, but they're not meant for police lockers. They're more like utility closets. But this is nice, places people can sit. They can air out their vests, so they don't, because when you're summertime wearing a bulletproof vest, it needs to be air out. This is a report room. This is where officers are going to come in. There'll be computers set up here, and whatever important information that needs to be put out be on the walls. It was designed in this shape to keep as much people out, because sometimes you want to gather and talk. So now it's going to be more like keep the workflow going. So you can come in this way. You can also go out there back to the hallway that way. And then right over here is roll call. So this is when every shift will start. The sergeant, lieutenant will give a briefing on the important what have happened in the prior days, or special topics we need to cover. We'll do it here in a legitimate roll call room compared to where we're moving from. We're kind of we're actually using like a break room as a roll call room, so it's kind of multifaceted. So yeah. That's all for tasers and body cameras. There'll be special shelving, but unfortunately we're using it right now. But officer will come out roll call, they grab their body camera, they grab their taser, and they can go on the shift.
This is your favorite room?
Yeah. I mean, we don't have one in the old station. I mean, this is going to be really great for morale, and I'm hoping like the retirees will partake in it because some of our purchases were for coffee makers and stuff like that. We're hoping that the retirees who didn't unfortunately benefit from a new station, it was on their watch. It was just it's coming, but they retired and it never happened. So I'm hoping that they want to come here once a month and hang out. And enjoy the station and the camaraderie of the men and women that's presently on the department, because there's a lot of valuable lessons can be learned from the old timers. They've done a lot, they experienced a lot, and the new generation can learn from it. So having them, hopefully they come here to like have coffee hour, they can partake it and learn from it. Because things were from the old days, they still kind of happen today. Just the technology is different, but they can all learn from it because even the war stories, if you ever had, like later today, if you're out and about, you'll hear the war stories of, oh, this is what happened to guys back in the 70s and 80s and how we're present day. It's just a learning, you learn from it. The biggest thing we pulled for a gym was the mental health of the officer. A lot of officers want a gym because if you work 3 to 11, it's a busy night, you're chasing some hot calls, you kind of, the adrenaline's up, you're fired up, the adrenaline's really flowing. It's probably good to get on a Stairmaster or lift some weights, because if you go home right away, you're just staring at the wall. And it takes you till from 11 o'clock at night when you get off shift till 1:30 to finally wind down. And then you have court in the morning. So if you can come here and get on a Peloton or a Stairmaster for 30 minutes, breaks the ice, and then you can go home and sleep. And anything you read out there, the mental health, just working out is huge. And anything you read today, you talk to any person at a gym, it's your mental health. And first responders take a beating because between us and the fire department, we see things the public doesn't normally see, and you have to adjust to it. And they link working out as a main a helping point for an officer to fight through a bad call if they had a bad accident or a child died. Those are not normal things, and if you can push some weight around or ride a bike and work it off, they're going to tell you you're going to live a longer and healthier life instead of keeping it all locked up. You know what I mean? It's going to be the new detective offices for the clean side. There's going to be a conference room. They have a detective side. I don't know how big our room is in the old building. It's probably like this size right here. It's like here to the wall, and you got like 4 people in there. Oh yeah, I mean, you're on top of each other in the other place, so it's more space. You spread out, you can have your records, have some sunlight. I mean, where they're now, it's all locked in. So, I mean, this is really a breath of fresh air. So, it's pretty good. Having first aid or AEDs for like CPR and stuff. We have one on each floor. They were donated by the Leominster Fire Department. They got a grant on it. They've been a very good partner when it came to training for AEDs in all of the city buildings. We definitely got 3 here. We have a first aid box that will be put in later that has all everything from Band-Aids to Tylenol. That one we go through a lot because you always get a cut here and there. But we have everything we need. So not here. Most of it's here, but when we get fully open, they'll all be here. All the cruisers are set up with their own AEDs and a first aid bag for if you run across someone that needs like a car accident, you can supply bandaging if you have to. This is another conference room. This is where the SROs are going to be. This is going to be, hold on one second. This is probably the room that the SANEs will take part in. It's supposed to be more softer for like victims. Usually we hold them down at DCF on Mechanic Street. Usually like a person that's trained to talk to juveniles. They handle it in there. Traffic Bureau. We have 2 traffic officers and a sergeant. They have a conference room. They have, also part of our outreach is going to be up here too, just because of the space. They can come up here, like Carlos Cintron, Tony Edinburgh, and they do the outreach for the city. And this is a good way to. I said there's going to be plenty of room up here. We can put them up here. Sergeant Robichaud's office. Do any. He's kind of a jack of all trades for our department. And this is a printer that you can print those large maps. Have you ever seen it? They can almost do like print out a whole downtown, all of Leominster. Because we have a lot of festivals, and we have to, because where we are and what we have for technology is limited. So a lot of times you're just losing an 11 by 12 piece of paper. Now we're gonna have a nice big sheet. You probably can laminate it, and we never have to do it again. People then will come into my office right here, and it's mostly almost done. Bathroom, shower in there.
All right, now is the important part of this, which is the dedication. Because as I said, it's a building. It's what goes on in these buildings. And it's the services that they provide. I was at the high school one day and I said, it's supposed to be mixed religion with, right, in the public world. I'm like, but I often will ask in a class, especially if they know who I am and they think I might be the janitor, they don't know who I am. I just walk in and start talking. I'm not sure if they know me. And I said, how many people believe that God gave you a gift? And God gives everybody a gift. And I'm thinking, the teacher's gonna yell, I'm gonna have people holding signs when I leave here. Every kid in the room raises their hand. And some of them said, I don't know what my gift is yet, but I got a gift. Isn't that amazing? Like, first of all, who would be crazy enough to ask the question? And secondly, I didn't expect that response at all. But the person that we're dedicating this room for today is the guy that got all gifts and shared them with everyone. And his family is here, and we can't thank you enough for Jimmy. And Jimmy's had some health issues, but I will tell you, Ace, my right-hand person at City Hall, went down and seen him. And he was still talking about work. He said, I'm not kidding, this is what he's saying. We're having this conversation. He says, if you work hard, in the end, you get it back. Now this is a guy that's dealing with some serious health issues, and it was all about working here in the city of Leominster. He'd see an elderly woman starting to cross the street in a crosswalk. Jimmy pulls over, jumps out of the car, runs over and helps her cross the street. And I'm thinking to myself, this is like Mayberry, like Jimmy. If you needed anything from this man at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you know what? His family sacrificed for it because Jimmy would just pop up and go. And it'd be a flooded basement. The first guy down at emergency management, Jim Lanciani. I don't care what it was. You need somebody to help out. You need something to do. And that was Jimmy's gift. He always felt he was given gifts, and he needed to share those gifts with everybody else. He always thought that way. Whatever it was, first guy to raise his hand, and first person to raise their hand for anything, Jim Lanciani. So he started with us on this project, and it came from the chief. One day we're sitting around and we're talking about this beautiful room here, this training room, and how important training was for Jimmy. And he said, we should name this room after Jim Lanciani because he stood for so much, and he's done so much for the community. The official unveiling, so get your cameras ready.